Hey there, future me. It's currently a Saturday morning. It's been morning for a little over 2 hours now. I would be going to sleep, but I made a poor choice, I suppose, to eat a substantial amount of food just an hour ago. So I'm in that state to where I guess I'm a little bit sleepy, but also I know that if I go lay down and try to go to sleep, I'll probably not be able to fall asleep, which is kind of annoying. Well, here I am, I guess. It's a strange time. It's one of those quieter days. I guess we went to there's like some we went to go see like a baseball game yesterday, so that was pretty sick. Or 2 days ago, but you know what I mean. But then like today was just kind of quiet. I met with prof, talked about some code, but then like the evening was just really quiet. I guess I'm not really sure how else to describe it. It's one of those days where I know what I need to do, right? There's dishes, there's laundry, there's like other beyond like chores and stuff. There's also like tasks for code, right? Need to change a few parameters. Should definitely do some quality of life stuff. Should touch up on like fluids, but it all doesn't seem fun at the moment. Well, fun is maybe not the most accurate word, but it's maybe it'll do for now. And or it's like it doesn't seem easy either for that matter. It's not something that I can easily lean into. And like all of the other things, like even the I guess more recreational things like, oh, I could, play keyboard or I could compose or I could like play video game, right? Like even though there's certainly some goal set for it, it all seems a little bit just doesn't even though I set the aims prior, like even though I have these like prior goals, they don't really seem as appealing. I guess everything just feels a little bit more grayscale. So I suspect this one's going to be a bit more of a Mulder than well, I guess like usually there already been some Mulders, so maybe not more Mulder. Anyways, like where am I trying to go with this? I don't know. It's just kind of right now I'm dancing in hypotheticals again, right? Peering down the abyss of all the stuff that lies ahead, and I guess dreaming or daydreaming about things that oh look, this could be better. And I guess right now it's just thinking about what if the uncertainty wasn't there, right? The future is kind of scary, at least right now, looking at it all. There's a lot of stuff that I don't really know how it's going to play out, right? I quals are kind of spooky, and even if I get through that, how am I going to get through all this other stuff? How am I going to if I get past quals, will I be able to graduate in time? Will I be able to actually write this thesis, which is like a ton of pages, and will I actually enjoy it? I'm worried that like from grad school I'll become more, I guess, burned out somehow, right? Exhausted. It seems that, or, okay, well, perhaps like my recollection is biased. Well, it probably is, right? Probably only remembers like the interesting times, but back in like I don't know, even going back to like middle school or high school and college, right? Like a lot of this stuff seemed a bit more. It all seemed a bit more fun. You weren't doing something because it was like necessary. You were doing something because like it was enjoyable, right? It seemed to have like a purpose. There was some grunt work, I guess, but that came in the form of like I don't know, like a non-major courses or like a few like technical hubbubs every once in a while. But it feels like the more that I go into like the grad school thing, or like the more I am here, I feel like there's more stuff that kind of seems like grunt work. But maybe it's like one of those things, like my dad. I guess like one of those Chinese sayings, right? Like "忙着不会，会着不忙." Like the person who's like busy um, doesn't know how, whereas the person who knows how is not busy, right? And perhaps I find myself to be rather busy because I don't know how. But I feel like I'm not sure whether it's like a loss of faith that has caused impatience or whether it's impatience that has caused loss of faith. But there's maybe that's just like two sides of the same coin, right? Maybe back in the day it was easier to lean into stuff or to tough it out because that kind of seemed like that's just kind of how things are. This is the thing, this is the path. You want to go become science man? Okay, cool, great. Go yeah, you gotta go figure this out then. If you can't do this, then get out of the kitchen, I guess. So maybe past me was just more gung ho in that sense, or he didn't really feel like there was. He didn't really feel like he was running out of time. Whereas now, I wonder if like I'm running out of time. I feel like right now I'm more antsy, more anxious about the future than I was before. I'm not really sure what's gotten into me. Of course, like sometimes, like I'll have moments of, or I actually don't really know like how much time I spend like not anxious about the future compared to anxious. But well, right now I guess late at night, so I suppose I have the bad thoughts buff, or like bad thoughts get a buff. I'm really stewing in it right now. I'm really feeling the just kind of like the oh man, there's a lot of stuff to do, and I just kind of wish that someone could tell me that it's gonna be all right in the end. But I I don't really think that's of course I can wish this, but I also recognize that I don't really think that that's possible. Who's gonna tell me that it's gonna be all right? Like if I don't trust myself, how can I trust other people? And even if like I trust other people, I can't like really trust other people, right? It's not like prof is gonna tell me like, oh, Green, you're doing fine. It'll be great. It'll work out. You'll graduate. You'll find a job. Like as much as I can be reassured, it's not going to actually like set it in stone, right? There's no guarantee anything could happen, right? And I guess like that was kind of like well duh obvious, but for some reason right now it just feels a lot more feels a lot worse than it normally does. And I it's just one of those weird ones, right? Like there's all this stuff to think about for some reason. Or maybe I don't really wish for someone to tell me that it's going to be all right, but rather I just wish that I had more trust in myself, right? In the sense that I'm going to, I guess, keep going. Like it's once again one of those things where it feels like as I grew up, I at some point in time obtained like some form of like, or not forbidden, but just like unhelpful knowledge, right? Like some kind of like, there are alternatives to what you originally thought, or like maybe you should become more skeptical about how you previously approached things, and like although they might be beneficial in the future, right now they just kind of seem to be like a burden in the sense that it causes, or I would think that it generates or leads me to have these like not great times where I'm kind of left wondering like what it was all for, or questioning myself because it seems that now things seem a lot harder, or things seem less like appealing than they were like in the past. It's just all of a jumble at the moment, but I'm trying my best to, I guess, log it down because if I don't do it now, I'm gonna go to sleep, close my eyes, and wake up and be like, oh yes, today is a new day, and then it will all kind of be forgotten, right? Like it feels like. Well, I don't want to try to paint myself as like someone who's like constantly just like reeling at like the peering into reality, but it's definitely something that makes me ponder about the future a lot, and I guess is one of the like if it weren't for Mulders like these, the channel probably wouldn't exist. Like it's because of the Mulders that I guess like uh, make me wonder as to if it gets better. Like but of course I can't just hope for things to get better. You have to go do things, but it also just kind of feels rather it's tough. I don't know. Like I wish that I guess I didn't have the bar set so high to where I just kind of recognize that this is what I have to do and not something that like I felt like I didn't have to do it beforehand. Realistically, I probably did have to do it beforehand. It's just that how I framed it, how I perceived it was different in a way. Like and the uncertainty wasn't really intimidating because it was just simply how things were. It's not that the world is cruel. It's not that the world was ever kind. It's just that the world was there. But I suppose now, like, I find myself wondering as to if I like past me was just ignorant. Perhaps like ignorance and enlightenment happens. There's not too much separation from it in behavior. Uh, Although I suppose as to how you reach the conclusion can be different. But it's just it's just kind of a rough time right now. Where do I have anything else that I actually want to address? Anything else that I want to bring up? Can I expand this any further? Can I drag this out even further and make future listeners suffer further through more of this like incoherent nonsense? I think I'm actually onto something. It's just not. I can't like hard to phrase it. What did I talk about? Like uncertainty, just like impatience, right, towards the wanting to see results now or wanting to see something that kind of like ensures you or guarantees something. Like it also, like there's all these narratives and things, and I could say like, oh, well, like when I was back, like as like a kid, I had all like this stuff. I had, my parents supporting me and all this stuff, and now it's just kind of like, even though my parents still kind of support me, like I know it can't. It won't be forever, right? At some point in time, my parents will die. I hope they pass before myself. I don't really think it would be good, I guess, like, if I passed before them. Uh, and so it's just kind of, those are some of the things that I have to do, but they just kind of seem more forced than I suppose they previously were, in the sense that I feel like I don't really have a say. Like, maybe I never really had a say, and it was always just going to happen anyways, and it's just that past me was more willing, or past me found it to be more worthwhile in some way. Um, in the sense that, oh, well, it's something that I have to do, but it's fun, so I'm gonna go do it. But now, like, things just don't seem as fun. And I suppose, like, whenever things don't seem fun, there's two options, right? The first is to try to go do the whole, well, I'm gonna reinvent my career and go, like, uh, do something crazy and find something that I find fun again. But I'm not really sure as to if that's, like, the real strat. I worry that if I do that, then I'll keep hopping around looking for things that are fun. But what if, like, if you really want to master something or do something to a degree to where it'll be like a profession, or if you want to perfect something, or okay, well, perfection's a pretty strong word, but if you want to eventually reach like a point of like real like mastery compared to just like beginner tier shit, right? Like maybe there has to be like that stretch of like, I don't really know what's going on, but I'm gonna tank it out anyways, right? Well, and if I just keep hopping around doing things that are fun, I'll become like a jack of all trades, and not only just a jack, like not only like a jack of all trades, but probably without like a job for that matter. And I guess the second option, besides like changing the scene, would just be to appreciate the hole that I've, or like fit myself into the hole that I've dug for myself. But I guess I was already kind of set on doing that in the past, wasn't I? Like, and I, to some degree, still am now. I don't really have any, I guess, intention to drop out of grad school. It's just like, right now, I'm just kind of hoping that, like, whenever I go to bed and I wake up, everything will seem a lot brighter. And I guess, like, that is kind of how things work based on what I've been listening to on the internet. The whole thing of, like, whenever you wake up, you're, like, really driven to go do things. And then the nighttime, you're kind of slow and you're like want to go to sleep more. But it's it's still kind of hard to get out of bed sometimes because it doesn't really. There are things to look forward to, but at the same time, like the uncertainty or the unease that comes with like the potential good stuff makes it either neutral or unappealing. It's just one of those stretches, I guess. But does it get any better? Like, does it actually get better? I don't know, right? Which, once again, like, I kind of wish that, I knew that it would get better. Of course, you can watch these videos of people, further down their career path talking about how, oh, when I was your age, I had the exact same feeling. Life was rough and there was a lot of things that I weren't so sure about, but I toughened through it and I found my way through and now everything is all better. But, I guess you also don't really hear about the people who kind of weren't able to make it, right? Or they kind of, I guess, because the people who didn't make it, they disappeared. There's like a survivor bias in some ways, but what's the point of rationale when there quite literally isn't like a better option? What am I supposed to do here? Am I just supposed to curl up in a ball and die? Am I just supposed to just like, call it and be like, oh well, this uncertainty thing is kind of scary, so like I'm out. Like I can't just leave, right? I still like living is good. Don't really have any intentions to, I don't know, like disappear anytime soon, right? Um, and so it's, what else am I supposed to do but to walk forward? It's just right now, it just feels like I'm doing this because it feels like I don't have any say in the matter, or that there's not really a choice, right? But it's probably just one of those days, or one of those stretches, right? And maybe in time it'll be better.